The sun's out. We know we've been able to identify it. This has been a brutal spring for the high schools, and this happens a lot. How do these guys get through it?
I don't know how they're getting through it, but certainly doing well at it, because I think we've talked about this before. We have so many of our kids with baseball who are going past Section 5 and doing well, either in major and minor league baseball. We have 16 kids playing Division I baseball this year, and we're going to have another 10 to 15 next year adding into it. So I think there's that whole idea that kids from Texas, they can't come up here and play very well, but we can go down there and play well.
Zuri keeps stats on this stuff, but that's got to be as many as we've ever had, I would think.
The 10 kids going Division I, I've asked several people, and nobody could think of a time that we've ever had 10 Division I commitments at one time in Section 5 baseball.
Wow. Nevertheless, Mike, I don't think they're getting a lot out of their high school career.
Well, that's the difference. There's two separate issues. There's an athlete being able to perform and going to the next level, which is beyond just high school. I mean, they play high school, but a lot of these kids are playing in one form or another a good majority of the year. And then there's the idea of how that high school experience is. There's not much we can do about it if you're going to have spring in the Northeast. I mean, we struggle with the weather. This has been a particularly bad weather. I do feel for the parents sometimes too, and the athletic directors. I'm imagining sitting there trying to reschedule baseball games when you can go a long period of time. Lacrosse, it's helped having some turf fields and they can get around it, or playing in the mud. Golf is a brutal sport to be playing in bad conditions with bad courses, but you'll talk to some people who've been around a long time, say we've done it before, we'll continue to do it. And I wonder if at some point they might want to try to shift some of these things to the fall, when our weather, I think, is a little more predictable.
They did take the baseball season and move it 1 week back. So the state championships are 1 week back. So we're going into next week, and Irondequoit and Athena, neither of them went down south during spring break, and they're going into this week, I think, playing at least 12 games. So they're right on the mark with that. So to the athletic director and the coach's ability to be able to make
work
that happen.
around it, yeah.
You know, what's weird, I was reading, Paul, you can help me with this. I was reading an article about how Section 5 is talking about allowing the kids to play sports on Sundays. I didn't know that was a rule you couldn't. I remember playing high school events on Sundays. Is that new?
I know basketball has played, because we have certainly have a couple showcases during the year where there are games played on Sunday. I think hockey plays some games on Sunday as well. So I don't know. That one caught me a little bit off guard.
It's pretty rare, though. I do know during high school football, during the playoffs, we've had Sunday playoff games and all too. But you do kind of need to open it up. And let's be honest, if you're a parent and your kids are playing, they're playing other sports on Sunday. Some families, and certainly understandable, want to keep that as a day where they're not doing sports, but Section 5 and high schools are kind of maybe the last holdouts.
Well, but I mean, if you're going to make it a religious observance thing, I mean, Saturday is a day that other religions observe too.
Right.
I mean, what about, I had friends that went to Brighton that were Orthodox Jewish that could not play sports because the only way they could do it would be dropped off in the town the night before within walking distance to a stadium to play something. So, you're just picking and choosing here?
Well, you're right. It may be a religious thing. It might just be another way of a day of rest kind of thing. And if you're a parent, it's like that Sundays. But I think that might go out the window too.